Finally, it's a review segment about a Western cartoon. I love anime as much as the next guy, but this show has a serious tendency towards weebdom. So what iconic cartoon am I reviewing today? Avatar: The Last Airbender? Batman the Animated Series? Generator Rex? You've got to be kidding me. Forget about it? That's what I'm reviewing today? The Things I Do for Justin Todd Brown. Forget About It was a Canadian animated adult cartoon. I'm already nervous. Editors, please put up some examples of Canadian cartoons and adult animated cartoons to show people why I'm scared.
My name is Angela. Hey, hello. Hey, I'm stuck. I know, the moisturizer.
If you're here to tell me how terrible being a woman is, the Statue of Liberty and my mom already covered that.
The French are full of shit, and your mother's a woman in decline.
Forget About It stars the Falcone family, a former mob family that was relocated to Canada through witness protection. This is actually a pretty decent setup. It's a good and natural way to introduce clashing cultures for a good fish out of water story. So let's hear about this Falcone family. Well, they're supposed to be called the McDougals now, but barely anybody uses their disguise names, although Jimmy starts to use his more as the show goes on, which is a nice character arc between season 1 and 2. The show's main stars are Jimmy, an overweight father, the caretaker patriarch. His classically hot redhead wife, her name's Cookie, their 3 kids. Petey's a total nerd loser, Teresa's a dramatic teen, and Gina is a super intelligent, evil toddler. Are you kidding me? Family Guy and its consequences have done irreparable damage to animation. Why do all of these shows do this? Simple, ugly art style, redheaded nagging wife, loser son, evil baby, and the heavyset, dumb as a sack of bricks, dad. Wait, Jimmy's actually pretty smart in this show. The dad character is in a total freak show, and there's a genuine bond of love between the parents. They seem to care about each other and their kids. It's not just watching a depraved man and his awful wife torment their children for 5 more billion episodes. Sorry I went on a bit of a tangent there, didn't I? Where was I? Oh yeah, the main characters of Forget About It. I forgot to mention 2 of them since they don't fit into the mold shaped by that other show. Uncle Cheech is a borderline senile, absolutely insane, goofy old weirdo with a fierce sense of loyalty and love for family, rivaled and defeated only by his stupidity and selfishness. He's a fun and wacky character, and the reason they're in witness protection in the first place. Shocker. Sometimes he's my least favorite character, but I'd be lying if I said he never made me laugh.
There's too many snowflakes! I can't get them all! Tell them all I went down fighting!
The last main character is Special Agent Straight McCool. Goofy name aside, he's a lovably dorky character. He's a Mountie that essentially roleplays as Canada's only paladin, riding his horse into the sunset and shouting cries of justice.
For Canada! And the fact that we're not Australia!
Each of these characters embody stereotypes rather than challenge them, but do so without making them feel one note, and they still manage to feel like they have real friendships and connections between the family and the characters. In the earliest Simpsons, I adore that family feeling, that they really do care about each other. A lot of adult animated shows feel like the families hate each other's guts and are together solely because the show deems it so. It's nice to see a family that loves each other in a show like this. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The show still has its moments of unfortunate, crappy adult animated comedy, but I think it's vastly superior to most of its contemporaries. It's funny often, and at times genuinely makes you think, this joke is too smart for this show. Many episodes walk the line between mediocre and awesome, with the episode about Hoosiers, a Canadian subset of Drunkard, having some absolutely cringe jokes and scenes, but also some of the best gags in the entire show. The show even manages to make you feel sometimes, as some of the characters can have compelling stories, and they really feel like a dysfunctional but lovable family. They're loud and annoying and weird, but they're family. You get the sense they do love each other. The parents are in love, they care about their kids. Jimmy and the family care about Uncle Cheech, despite his wackiness. The kids, despite fighting, do care about each other, but are less endearing characters than the parents. There are some real stinker moments for sure. There's some crass lines, gross out humor, cheap, slightly offensive jabs, and an over-reliance on sex, blood, and shock humor in season 1. Guns and blood aren't out of context, since it's a mafia family, so they bother me less than they do on, say, Family Guy or... Anyway, the show's pretty good, in my opinion. It's got a fun theme song, just a goofy little ditty that recaps the concept, which is rare enough these days. I love theme songs. It's chock full of goofy Italian stereotype sounds and really sets the tone of the show. It's dark, but it's fun. The show even has a pretty important transgender character, and her main episode's plot/conflict is only partially about her identity. It's not a perfect episode, and there's some cringe-worthy moments throughout, especially from, unfortunately, Agent McCool. But I really like the end result that Jimmy, our tough guy protagonist, doesn't have any problem with his father transitioning, but just with her not being around in his young life. You know, they hug and talk things out, and then there's a scene where they have a cute little family dinner together, all the cast together. If the show ever returns, I hope she becomes a prominent character as part of the family, and they get some more LGBTQ writers on staff to avoid the hiccups on that otherwise decent episode. Overall, the show's decent, dare I say, mostly good. It's no Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I binged it for hours while concussed, so that has to count for something, right? Granted, I also watched a lot of Guy's Grocery Games and a bunch of simulator video games that week. Anyway, the show isn't perfect, but it was a fun time. I think it easily deserves like a solid B, B- on a grading scale, and the bar for adult animation is like
An F-.
So I happily encourage this show so that networks know we care about quality, care, and family. And if you think I'm not gonna stay animated, Indiana, forget about it. Seriously, how is Family Guy still running? It's painfully unfunny. The characters are all irredeemable monsters. The animation is cheap and stiff and ugly. The writers gave up like half a decade ago. Half the characters have been retconned to be less offensive. Seriously, does it...